Good evening. I'm Magda Gebrselassie. Confusion and chaos at Pearson Airport tonight. This after a fire broke out at Terminal 1 this evening. Now, Adrian Chung is live at the airport. So, Adrian, what is the latest?
Well, Magda, the fire has been put out. It started at a storefront just right after you clear security. And while no one was injured, that was really the beginning of the confusion and the headache that happened here tonight. If you look behind me where the board is, you can see just how many delays. Nearly every single flight has been delayed. Some cancellations as well. And as of tonight, all U.S.-bound flights out of Terminal 1 have been canceled. Most international flights are delayed or flying out of Terminal 3. And of course, there's a major backlog of those international flights, some of which are still sitting out on the tarmac. Now, this was the scene shortly after the fire was reported. You can just see a stream of hundreds of people out in the concourse. They were all evacuated out of the terminal area even after they cleared security. And we spoke to some frustrated passengers, and it was clear that a pattern was forming as they were coming out looking for answers. Have a listen.
Everyone was literally herded over here, so people are just wondering why, because there's nothing happening on this end. So
not much direction.
No, I don't think anyone knows what's happening.
There's been no communication overhead telling people where to go, what to do, what's happening. Been reading it on Twitter, basically to find out that, oh, there was a fire somewhere down below, and that's it. We've just been corralled from one section to another. And really, there's been nobody taking charge of anything here. Would be nice to know.
Lack of information creates lots of misunderstanding, people getting frustrated.
What did they tell you inside?
Honestly, there was no communication. All they said was all Canadian citizens leave.
Now, of course, just the sheer amount of people was the big challenge out on the concourse. This is, of course, the end of March break travel, and we saw plenty of Peel Region police officers on scene here being able to give people some direction as well as trying to keep people calm. Magda.
Adrian, did you talk to anybody that actually saw the fire?
Yeah, I had a chance to speak to a witness, and she said it wasn't so much the fire itself that caused the problem, but just the sheer amount of smoke that came out of it. Take a look at this picture here that was shot by a witness very close to where the fire started. You can see just how thick the smoke is. Have a listen to what she said as it unfolded.
I just got through security and kind of went down the stairs at Terminal 1, and as soon as I went down, everyone kind of was standing frozen, not too sure what to do as smoke was billowing out of one of the display stands. And you don't know what you're breathing in, right? It wasn't anything too pungent, like it was probably more, I don't know, I think if it was the display, it was probably just that. I don't think it was anything chemical related or anything too of concern, but still, smoke in the lungs is never a good thing.
Now, we also have this photo taken by somebody, a witness really just in the last hour of somebody. You can see just how much smoke there is still in the terminal that was taken from a passenger on the plane. As well, the Greater Toronto Airports Authority says that there was serious water damage. So, of course, there is no guarantee that Terminal 1 will be up and running again tomorrow morning. So if you are flying out, it is a very good idea to check with your airline to see that you will be flying out of Pearson. Magda.
All right, some good advice there. Thank you. 3 men were rushed to a trauma center after a shooting near Jane and Lawrence overnight. Police were called to the area shortly after 4 a.m. for reports of gunfire at a high-rise residential building in Trethewey Drive. When officers arrived, they found 3 males, all suffering from gunshot wounds, and a vehicle with shattered windows. Cops recovered multiple shell casings in the area. There was even a bullet hole visible in a 6th-floor window of a low-rise building across the street from where the shooting took place. No suspect information has been released. A 21-year-old man is fighting for his life in hospital after a hit and run this morning.
We will be canvassing the area for surveillance or video surveillance, and we are appealing to anyone with dash cam footage to contact our Major Collision Bureau.
It happened around 4:30 this morning. Paramedics found the man in critical condition and rushed him to a Toronto trauma center. Officers believe the driver of the vehicle may have been in a car that was a beige compact vehicle, possibly a Honda or a Toyota. Most residents forced out of their homes by flooding in the Bolton area are now returning home today. Some 200 people had to leave their homes Friday evening. 85 houses and an apartment building were evacuated. This after 6 ice jams piled up in the Humber River, causing a floodwater to run over into the community. There was a sea of green in Waterloo today. Well, thousands of St. Patrick's Day partygoers took over Ezra Avenue in an unsanctioned party. It's now become kind of a tradition. Some say this party was as big or even bigger than last year's that drew 20,000 people. Through the day, there were more police officers on site to handle the crowd. There were reports of people damaging property, throwing bottles at officers and other people. Police say one officer was injured after a fall and was taken to hospital. Well, things have since calmed down there. Now, can we expect a calm forecast? Well, Safia Kambalia has the answers. Hey, Safia.
Well, we're pretty lucky this upcoming work week ahead. Hello there. We had a little bit of a below seasonal weekend, you can say. Winter's last stab, hopefully. If you liked the cooler type conditions, then you were in pretty good standing, because the warmest we really got in southern Ontario this weekend or today was about 3-something degrees, and that was in St. Catharines. Generally, we were about 2 degrees across the board. And if you wanted the warmer temperatures, you had to look far, far, far away. Well, the spring-like weather is in the Yukon and the Northwest Territories, where it's about 12 degrees. They're about 20 degrees above seasonal. We won't get back to the seasonal mark until the first few days of this work week. We'll tell you about some of the active weather to come in the long-range forecast, but with this warm-up is also causing a rapid decrease of the ice surface on the Great Lakes. Uncovered water, colder air above means that lake effect snow machine is still on, that last little bit of winter weather. So you wake up to a bit of a dusting of snow on the ground as you begin your Tuesday morning commute. It's not much to write home about, just a couple centimeters, and it will all melt. We'll talk about the big warm-up for the first official day of spring when we return. We'll talk about what this means for upcoming and growing flood risk, and we'll also look back at the winter that was. Spring talk coming up.
All right, thank you.
Now, as Canadians, we are sometimes too humble, but not tonight. There is no denying our impact on the world of music. And tonight, together, we get to celebrate the best and the brightest. Canadian music kicks ass.
Yep, she said it. Tonight was one of the biggest nights of the year in Canadian music industry. The 2019 Junos was tonight, and it was hosted by singer Sarah McLachlan. Now, the show was broadcast right here on CBC television, and while it may be over, the Juno festivities will likely continue into the night. And that's CBC's Chris Enzing is joining us right now from London. So, Chris, take us through some of the highlights.
Well, the magic all happened inside the Budweiser Gardens beside me here, where you can see some people behind me walking towards those after parties, and that's a big bill to follow after a night of live music like that. Jeremy Dutcher's performance especially really shocking some people as a new artist that they might not have been aware of, but really someone they're opening their ears to now. And Sarah McLachlan hosting this show, and again, you heard her at the top, very emphatic about her support for Canadian musicians. Shawn Mendes, the big winner this year, 5 Juno Awards over the course of the weekend. And of course, Hamilton's Arkell as well, they won as well. And it was Jessie Reyes, the Toronto artist, who was able to pick up the best R&B and soul recording. A big night full of big wins. Let's hear what the artist had to say.
Obviously, this is an incredible prize, and an incredible gift, but I think the best gift we can offer is each other's good company and each other's spirit. That is truly what this weekend's all about. So thank you very much for being with us.
If there's one thing that I leave tonight, man, is that I am you and you are me. And if there's one thing that you're chasing and you're willing to work hard for it, do it, because you could do whatever you want, man. And thank y'all so much.
It's that kind of a celebration that really hit home for the people who are watching that show. Corey Hart actually had a big night as well, getting into the Music Hall of Fame. He just spoke with reporters and talked about what that moment was for him, but just hear it from himself to have that moment on stage tonight in front of all of his fans.
Thank you. I believe that music and love are the most enduring and powerful forces of good in the world.
Now, these awards have really given the city of London a chance to shine. So how is London handling the spotlight?
Well, it all started off with a big bang. Loud Luxury, they're a London-based band, and they promised that they would include London in that house somehow. And what they did is they brought out Western, the school where they met. The cheerleaders were dancing. They had a big show to put out for the fans who are local, to let them know that this is what it's all about. And as far as the local music scene, well, there's been shows all weekend, and a lot of push put on the idea of turning this into the musical city that a lot of people who live here think it needs to be. And we'll be closely watching what happens next year as the city tries to make a couple bucks off of this. They're expecting to make about $12 million off of these festivities.
Wow, big night. Thank you for that, Chris. Jeremy Dutcher also took home the award for Best Indigenous Music Album at the Junos Gala last night. Now, he fired off a passionate acceptance speech about Indigenous music and reconciliation. It appeared his time ran out before he finished, though. But look what happened just a few minutes later when the Arkells were on stage.
We can all do better. Reconciliation, there we go. That's it. Thank you so much. There's been so much wisdom shared on the stage tonight, but our friend Jeremy didn't get a chance to finish, so he's going to finish the night as he should. Jeremy, come on, let's go.
The Arkells invited him up after they won the award for Best Rock Album.
Solidarity and love for our Muslim neighbors.
Signs of support continue for the Muslim community following the attacks on mosques in New Zealand. That's coming up after the break. Relatives of the suspect in the New Zealand massacres spoke publicly for the first time today. They say they're devastated and have been in utter disbelief since the accused gunman's name was first reported.
The media's saying he's planned it for a long time, so he's obviously not of sound mind, I don't think.
We're so sorry for the families over there, for the dead and the injured.
The suspect's grandmother and uncle say he changed completely after traveling overseas. His sister and mother have been moved by police to a safe house. The 28-year-old Australian man was charged with murder Saturday. More charges are expected when he's back in court in April. Here in this region, a local helpline for Muslim youth has noticed a spike in calls after the attacks. But also on the rise, signs of support for the community. Hawea Fidel has that story.
Yes, that's right.
Handwritten notes and flowers are left on the doorstep of Jami Mosque in Roncesvalles. Residents are rallying behind their local mosque.
It's about making people in this community feel welcome, feel safe in whatever they are doing.
Rebecca Baroudi and Rebecca Davies met on social media after news broke about the attack in Christchurch.
I think I felt, as much of the world has, absolutely gutted. As one does when there's a similar act of terror in a synagogue or a church. This one really got to me.
The two decided they wanted to do something for their community.
I feel I can start locally to show my neighbors that we love them and we value them.
That sentiment was echoed in Mississauga. On Saturday, more than 500 people gathered to pray for the victims in Christchurch. People carried signs encouraging love and denouncing hate.
Those things can really help bring comfort to people in times of distress.
Huma Saidi works for Nasiha, a local organization that provides mental health support for Muslims. She says the community showing support during difficult times like this brings comfort.
We need to know that what we're experiencing is real and that people are noticing that and are there for us.
Nasiha experienced an increase in calls after the attacks on Friday. Sadie encourages anybody in need of support to give them a call.
We do have a helpline that anyone can call, whether they need support for school issues, trauma issues such as this most recent shooting.
How about a one big string?
Meanwhile, neighbors in Roncesvalles hope their small gesture will bring some comfort to Muslims in their community. Hawea Fidel, CBC News, Toronto.
A memorial service was held in Addis Ababa today for the victims of last week's Ethiopia Airlines crash. The CBC's Susan Ormiston is in Ethiopia and has this report.
Thousands of mourners crying and wailing processed to the Holy Trinity Cathedral in Addis Ababa, the most holy of the Ethiopian Orthodox churches. Many wore black T-shirts emblazoned with photos of their loved ones lost in the crash. Dozens of crew from Ethiopian Airlines in their green button-down uniforms walked slowly beside black funeral vans. The airline has been under pressure to return remains to families, but says that DNA tests to match small fragments could take up to 6 months. So the airline is handing out small 1-kilo sacks of earth from the crash site in an attempt to give families something to bury, small comfort. Meanwhile, data from the cockpit recorders is being downloaded this weekend at labs in France. As more and more families arrive here in the capital, steadily every day now, airline buses make the trek out to the crash site with families. Today, carrying a Canadian couple from Brampton who lost 6 members of just one family. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Ethiopia.
One woman says she is surprised by her neighborhood's response to her call for help. Amanda Michelangeli has been sending supplies to Venezuela as the country continues to face political and social upheaval. Then she asked her Leaside neighbors to pitch in.
The reaction was overwhelming. I wasn't expecting it to be that big. I was expecting people to basically drop off a couple of bars of soap at my place, but people really wanted to help, and I guess they also have seen the news about what's going on in Venezuela and have been affected by it.
Her van was packed with supplies today. She's collected more than 20 boxes of everything from nutritional shakes to baby wipes. Several Toronto cafes are also accepting donations for Venezuelans for Life. The organization collects and ships the items, and it's done discreetly. President Nicolas Maduro continues to block humanitarian aid from entering the country. Canada's
What a set from Bianca Andreescu.
Canada's newest rising tennis star, Bianca Andreescu, is proving doubters she is for real. We'll have highlights from her championship match at Indian Wells just ahead. Mississauga's Bianca Andreescu has her first Women's Tennis Association title.
Astounding Andreescu. One of the most astonishing performances at a tournament from an 18-year-old you will ever see.
The unseeded 18-year-old upset 8th-seeded German Angelique Kerber in the women's final at Indian Wells. With the victory, she becomes the first wild card entry to win the event. She's also the youngest woman to win the title since 17-year-old Serena Williams in 1999. Toronto FC kicked off their home opener on the right foot.
Justin Morrow trying to get it around the back here. Akinola front post. It's Josie Altidore!
Fresh off a return from surgery, star striker Josie Altidore scored the game winner in the 80-minute to help lift TFC to victory. Toronto beats the New England Revolution 3-2 in its home opener and have now won 2 games in a row. The team heads south of the border to take on New York City FC on March 29th. Well, local finds from clothes to home designs. That's what shoppers found at the Trinity Bellwood Flea March Market today. More than 60 vendors took part, and here's what you may have missed out on.
It's like a good bonding for me and my family because we all do it together.
It's a great market to actually introduce products to the consumer. It's actually a fun environment.
I offer bath salts for each of your chakras. I handcraft them myself in a studio, and I use essential oils, so there's no fragrance oils or chemicals in them.
We do a coffee and tea blend. So we've got like a fair trade organic coffee, and then with the various different blends of tea. So a herbal tea, like a black tea. We wanted to kind of capture a market for everybody.
It's a great way to to build a community relation with the neighborhood.
When you shop local, you're actually helping your community. It helps funds stay locally within your community. It's helping small businesses get a foot in the business industry, and it's also helping people move away from supporting large corporate brands.
Now, here's the thing. Should people have been shopping for spring clothes? The person with the answers is Safia Kambalia. So what does the forecast look like? Some warm weather coming our way?
Yeah, I promise you a warm up and we will deliver. We welcome in spring at 5:58 p.m. on Wednesday. You'll hit a high of potentially 8 degrees on Wednesday, the first full day of spring on Thursday. Not too shabby. 7 feeling like 3. We are above the seasonal average for much of the work week, which should be about 5 degrees this time of year. We are on the up and up, and we even have a chance at a nice run, folks, of double digits. We did it. We finally made it. Spring is almost here. Plenty of sunshine this upcoming work week as well. Here is the little blip in the radar, though, and I mean just a little blip in the radar. Low pressure system will slide over this big ridge of high pressure. We could have some showers or rain overnight Wednesday into Thursday. But hey, this is really old hat for us now. We have been through the brunt of this winter. Yeah, there is still a few more days to come, but it has really been a near normal winter. We've been as warm as about 12 degrees, as cold as about -22. That was all within the same week to end off January and begin February. We felt as cold as -38, and we've clocked in at Toronto Pearson about 132 centimeters of snow. That is just about 23 centimeters over the average. So we've done it. We've made it. We will have a few more centimeters of snow to add to that total to end off winter. It'll come as you wake up and head out for your commute on Tuesday morning. Just a few lake effect flurries because of the decreasing ice service on the lakes. But man, next time I see you, it will be spring. We have done it, and the warm up this week is coming. Enjoy it, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Sophia.
You're welcome.
Well, we went out to an ice rink today and caught up with some skaters enjoying the last lap of winter. A party was underway, St. Paddy's themed, of course, and that is our show for tonight. Thanks for watching. You can stay caught up on the news anytime on our website, cbcnews.ca. Have a great night.